Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the WGLNA. I'm Joshua Gray, joined by Randall Holcomb. We're about ready to finish our night tonight with our final matchup. That's V-Boys versus Simply Irresistible. But before that, we want to remind everybody to please follow us on Twitter at WGLNA, Facebook.com/WGLNA, and use that hashtag on your tweets for us to find your tweets easier. Put them up on the broadcast.
Yep, and don't forget about the question of the day. What are your predictions for the Qualifier 2 final match? Who's going to be there? And maybe if you think you know who's going to win, tell us that as well.
Also, betting happens before every single battle. In the past, it was before every single match. Now it's before every single battle. In order to bet, ask the people in Twitch chat. They'll be willing to help you. And also to find out where you stand on the leaderboards, go to WGLConnect.com. Now, we have a very special prize for the top 50 performers. One of those people will be chosen randomly in order to take home a Jinx code for $50. You need some ideas for some gifts. You maybe want a little bit something for yourself. Go to jinx.com, click on World of Tanks. They have a number of items for you to choose from that I would personally wear. They are clutch approved.
I've gotten a few. Remember the light tank pins we had?
Yeah.
You know, those are great little pins. And I even scored myself a little Jinx pin. I've got it somewhere. I need to find it.
I know where it's at. It's on your other suit jacket.
Oh, okay.
Let's take a look at the rosters.
All right, so from the V-Boys, there's not a lot of names. Tano Skywalker is someone I believe we both remember. From Simply Irresistible, we've got Vo8. Actually, we've got the whole lineup that we saw last time. Speed Weaponry and Kaiser are two names you should look at, and also Eula.
Waiting for the final countdown here as both these teams are getting ready to battle. The Simply Irresistible we saw last time, V-Boys, first time they're making their appearance. Most of these individuals are Vietnamese that live in the United States. One player lives in Vietnam. We welcome them to the qualifiers and wish them the best of luck, not only to them, but to both these teams. What do we have for tanks, Randall?
All right, looks like Simply Irresistible will be bringing two T-32s, a Pershing, 1390, RU-251, and two M41 Walker Bulldogs. V-Boys will be bringing two 5100s, a T-32, Pershing, 1390, Walker Bulldog, and a T-71. Interesting choices for tanks, as 5100s represent a lot of damage, but not a lot of armor. So obviously the mentality that we're getting from V-Boys is they're going to set up to scout, and those 5100s are just going to shoot people. This T-71 appears to be their little scout that could. It's a little adorable tank. And we've got Vo8 going a nice aggressive scout run, recognizing where his advantages are. And he doesn't seem to spot much of anything. You've got a really strong route by Nick and Blizz outside of the possible spotting range. But we do have V-Boys relegated to the bottom
Vo8 is able to bounce one shot. This T-71 and Vo8 will crash a little bit. He's going to stop the momentum. He dodges another shot, and the M41 Bulldog gets away from the firefight, at least for a little while. The T-71, Tiny Tintin's trying to figure out what the heck just happened as he's going to move along that valley, but Vo8 could pop up again.
And he does for just a moment. I think he gets a little spotting there. Tintin, he looked like one of those goons in an action movie, right? He just gets beat up, and the action hero Vo8 just runs out of there with explosions behind him.
Tiny Tintin's going to go back to his friends and say, you won't believe what just happened. And right when he pops up, he gets hit for 218 from fire from Pride and JD, but Vo8 takes a hit for 284. The surround from SI right now is trying to contain V-Boys in that corner. They're not staying back. They're not crossing the train tracks. They're finding where their opponents are and keeping them there.
A really cool move from V-Boys. Hyun actually was tracked in the open. You saw T-32 and M41 cross in front to stop that. However, you've got Simply Irresistible focusing this Pershing down fairly well.
Tano Skywalker, the team leader of V-Boys, has now pushed to the north, looking for Pride's position, along with JD, scouting out where this damage was coming from. Pride takes a shot, but it hits the ground, but further away, Skywalker is hit not once, but twice. Pride, again, misses another shot in the 251, not overexposing himself, as Tano is close to 50 health, or 50% health, rather. Stan the Man falls. First tank to go on the side of V-Boys. Vo8 could be the next one, but he's trying to stay out of trouble as Pride takes another hit.
And Tintin to the south is trying to engage on Vo8. Might be able to take him down.
Vo8 with 3 HP, falling back away from Tiny Tintin.
Oh, there is support fire tracking him in the open, but who is that and from where? Tintin is going to try and back off. maybe someone can actually get the kill on Vo8.
An end-user license agreement, EULA for short, is able to get the kill. JD cleans up another tank, and Vo8 lives again from the 1390, but now finally falls. Vo8, one of the luckiest tankers alive, and that M41 Bulldog is now down. JD could be the next one to fall, but he's going to take another hit into the T-32. Bobby's going to move in along with Pride, and Blitz is going to be surrounded here.
He'll be taken down shortly as these smaller tanks just rip him apart. There he goes.
He was focused on the lowest HP tank. Smart move, because at least he tried to get a kill. Couldn't get it in time, though. But when you're in that type of scenario, that's how you want to play. Movement now coming from SI as they move closer to the rest of the tanks still left alive for the V-Boys. 2 left, Nick 48 and Trin.
It's a lot of damage to deal for the V-Boys. SI has done their job. They did their work, and they've torn their opponent apart. I was surprised Vo8 is dead after the miracles he was able to pull.
Stride pushes up against Trin. Can't get second shot, but Bobby actually gets a shot against Nick.
Sneaks that one from way downtown over at Foxtrot 5.
Trin able to dodge another hit, but from long range, SI are ready, and they get it. V-Boys falls. 1 win for SI so far, but it's only the first battle. Still plenty of can happen, as we saw in the last series. And SI looked really, really good.
They did. The opening scout run, I liked Vo8's play the entire time. I felt like he played exceptionally, and that's backed up by the damage he was able to deal. 1,714 for him. Out of 10 shells, 9 hit, 8 pen. Solid play. Everything we can expect from that M41, out-damaging everyone else on his team. You have the RU-251, Pride doing a sufficient job, 1,500, and behind that everyone kind of falls in line. Now, here's where you can notice what V-Boys might not have been doing right. The 5100s are not able to do any damage. Nick not able to make connections, and Stand not able to actually live long enough to get the shots out. These 5100s, not appropriate, I think, for the way they employed them on Prohorovka, but I'm not saying it's a bad choice in an absolute sense.
From what we saw from Simply Irresistible from last week, they defeated Zulu Swarm. Even though Zulu Swarm had one impressive play with their quick movement to the southern flag cap or towards that area on Moravanka. And then they lost to Penguin Mafia. And it was a tough loss for them because it seemed there was a little bit back and forth, but then Penguin Mafia had the rest of it in their hands. So I would like to sit down. If they make it through tonight, I would like to hear from them to see what do they do within this last week to improve upon what we saw from last time. And here we go, battle number 2 on Prohorovka between Simply Irresistible and V-Boys. V-Boys making their first time appearance here for the qualifiers for the Gold League. What do we have for tanks?
Looks like SI is going to be bringing 2 T-32s, Pershing, 1390, RU-251, and 2 M41 Walker Bulldogs. So, business as usual there. V-Boys is going to knock that down to a single 5100. They're going to bring 2 IS-3s, a T-32, 1390, M41, and a T-71. So, this is a lineup that belongs on something of a heavy tank map, like Himmelsdorf, Ruinberg, something like that, but Prohorovka. This is the kind of lineup where you just go at your opponent and you hope to just smash them because you have IS-3s, T-32, 5100, and you've got hit points. Simply
Irresistible was able to put in a lot of time this weekend for scrimmaging. That's what they've done from last week to this week. It's shown so far in Battle 1, but this is a type of opponent where it's tough for us to judge what type of improvements we've seen. And shot fired from EULA into Stan the Man. Waiting for another shot, can't get it. He's creeping up in that Pershing though, that long range. 400 meters in that Pershing. Trying to get that T-71. Vo8 on the move again. Moving quickly in that Walker Bulldog.
And Stan, again his opponent, is forced out of position and has to back off. So this T-71 it was a cool tank at one time. But I feel like it's so lacking in something truly threatening. You know, the M41 feels bigger, stronger, with a more potent gun that is consistent fire. The T-71, yeah, it's a cool tank. It's little, it's fast, doesn't have any armor like every other light tank, but it doesn't have that same kind of maneuverability that I feel the Walker Bulldog brings.
Flak taking a couple hits from up top, fires back towards Nick 48, gets another hit against Nick, but Flak falls back. Eula and Flak trying to maintain their threat here at the center of the railroad tracks, but they got to be really careful because this is what we saw last time. This threat from the hillside of the opposing team on the east was able to land continual shots, especially when their teammates pushed forward and they fell back. Pride took a little bit of a hit from further away. That T-71 still left alive here. Jumping over to Bobby. He is a new addition to the team. He is actually a member of the Simp clan. Before, they only had 4 members. That was Bulls, PB, CAC, T-Time, and Claws. Well, excuse me, those were the teams that members from Simp.
Claws, like crab claws?
Like crab claws,
okay,
yeah.
Okay, I recognize
so
the clan.
There were 3 members that were part of Simp. The other members of Simply Irresistible were part of Bulls, PBKAC, T-Time, and Claws. Now with a new addition from Bobby.
And real quick, Josh, we do have a bit of an engagement starting. Tiny Tintin in the IS-3s moved up with Hyun. And the two of them are closing the distance. They are right up there next to these T-32s. But there isn't a whole lot of damage being traded yet. But, sorry, I should correct myself. There is some fire coming from the high ground. And Strime Pride takes down Stan the Man.
Stan, the first tank to fall on the side of V-Boys here, as Flak is taking a little bit of damage, but not enough to allow Tiny Tintin, Blizz, or Hun to push forward. And they're going to continually take damage in this section of the map, and Pride is open to push across those railroad tracks to the south and land another hit against these tanks. They're going to fall back a bit to the south themselves.
Look at Bobby's position. I have to point this out real quick in the middle of these guys getting beat up pretty much, but Bobby has perfect side shots on the IS-3s, and he's all the way in Alpha Zero. Flak taking down Tiny Tintin. The positioning from SI had such foresight that they were able to take advantage of that minutes down the line and setting up during, the first 2 minutes of this match, recognizing where their opponent was going to be.
Bobby quickly moving from that position, not doing any damage to his tracks or his tank as he does so, is on the northern side of the bottom of the hill. And as he creeps forward, he can use this village as cover to get closer to the position of Nick 48 and Trin, be able to scout their position, allowing for maybe a couple close shots from the T-32 initially, but once they spot that Bobby will be there, well, another shot hits Nick 48, they will most likely fall back, especially since they are down 2 tanks. But Bobby right now has a beautiful shot against Hun and Blizz, and he will continue to fire into the sides of these tanks from his M41 Walker Bulldog until Blizz or Hun make a decision. Consistent fire from Walker. Bobby continually firing into the side of Blitz. Blitz tries to fire back, can't get it. He's going to continue to fire into the side of those tanks, and Eula and Flak can push forward. Another shot from Bobby, one more, and Blizz will fall. Blizz fires back, but Bobby gets it.
And now we've got a situation where SI could just begin closing this one up. They haven't lost a tank. They've got plenty of hit points on everyone. 666 on Flak, by the way. And Tano Skywalker's just going to move on in. Looks like he's got a battle buddy in Trin, but it's not anymore.
He's got somebody to dig his grave, but he's got to dig his own. Trin falls. Pride is able to get that one. Hun, last tank in the center. Waiting for these tanks to get over the railroad tracks, and he goes down. That's 2-0 for Simply Irresistible. That M41 Bulldog in the hands of Bobby. Beautiful.
Yeah. And did you see that last volley of shells? Just everyone fired at once. That poor IS-3 didn't stand a chance.
No.
SI just took control, and they exerted that. Every single situation where there was any kind of an engagement, it was in their favor. Their opponent had to back off and give ground. They didn't have the support necessary. They didn't have the cover fire, the control, everything. And a lineup like that, where you've seen those 5100s IS-3s, while on a city map it makes a smart defensive choice, I think maps like Prororovka, you're going to be outmaneuvered.
The goals of the V-Boys, obviously they want to make it to the Gold League, but yes, their expectations are we want to test our strategies. We want to test ourselves as a team to where we stand with teams that are vying to get into the Gold League, learn from them, and then take that to bronze or silver or wherever they end up.
Sure.
Now, I am noticing splintering patterns from V-Boys, where those 2 tanks that were taking fire from Bobby, they didn't know what to do. They didn't know if they should fall all the way back and focus fire in case those T-32s come towards them, which if the T-32s wanted to get aggressive enough, they want to aim towards the holes and obviously not the turrets.
Fair, yeah.
Or do they assault the T-32s and get help from their teammates? If they had to move, they had to do something. They didn't know what to do, and Bobby had probably the greatest long shots of all time for the M41 Bulldog, just continually fire.
He was playing it perfectly. And you can see SI was playing the map very, very well. Their opponent, I think, limited on tanks, was unable to play as they would like, attempted something, but didn't have a real plan. I think that was just one of those strats. Let's try it. We'll see if they can change this up now that we are switching sides.
Yeah. We'll tell you how to sign up for the qualifiers for the Silver and the Bronze League after this match, but now let's jump into battle number 3 on Prohorovka. V-Boys versus Simply Irresistible. What do we have for tanks?
All right, looks like we've got 2 5100s, 2 IS-3s, T-32, 1390, and that T-37. Again, from the V-Boys SI, Simply Irresistible is bringing 2 Pershings at T-69, 1390, RU-251, and 2 M41 Walker Bulldogs.
Fun fact about the V-Boys, Tano Skywalker used to be on Victoria's Secret, but when Victoria's Secret joined the Gold League in the previous season, he could not commit to the time that was necessary, and so he decided to leave. But now, looks like he does have the time to put a team together and fight.
Maybe it's he's trying out, seeing what they can do in the Gold League qualifiers. If they don't make it, silver like you were talking about, but if they can get it together, get some momentum, it's possible. They could still come back. We've seen crazier series. I mean, look at US versus Get Flanked. And now we've got a little bit of fire being traded. Bobby taking damage, down to 813 hit points to start this one off, where Tano is at almost dead.
635, he's the first to fall.
All right, V-Boys are taking the lead. Looks like a little bit of damage is being reciprocated, though. We've got Pride taking some damage. We've got Bobby taking a few hits. And Stan is... Okay, now he's getting focused. 5100s clustered together. We're going to see Nick maybe take some fire, but...
He goes down. Eula's able to get that shot, and even though there's traded fire towards Simply Irresistible, Trin takes a hit for 251. Speed weaponry, the M26 Pershing will push up slightly, trying to get another shot. Can't get it, he'll fall back. And it's going to be a bit of a reprieve for both teams here as they readjust their movement and position on Prohorovka. But right now, Simply Irresistible has more map control, where V-Boys could decide if they want to go down further south on the opposite side of the railroad tracks or meet the aggression with their own. Shot fired from speed weaponry, hits Nick 48, and Vo takes 2 hits, and he's going to go in for an attack run, or at least a scouting run up north. Nick is almost down. Vo fires for effect, gets a shot on the move, and Flat closes the deal.
Now we have maybe the first kill. Vode is going to go down to Trin, but not before he is left at a third of his hit points, and now tracked in the open, dead.
JD trying to get the ram damage with speed weaponry, beat him to the punch. As 4 tanks have fallen for V-Boys, 6 still left alive. Blizz is the next one that is under attack as speed weaponry and Flat could push up in the Pershings. They're going to do so. Blizz takes a hit on the side. Speed weaponry lines up, actually misses a shot. Eula is able to finish it up. 2 tanks remain for V-Boys as Simply Irresistible is looking to clean this up.
Yeah, it looks like Tintin's going to be the next tank focused down, and you can see it. SI is picking 1 tank, killing 1 tank, and the focus. One by one by one. They're not splitting their fire too much. Why? Because they don't need to. They're identifying their opponent, and their opponent is split up enough to the point where they can one by one take V-Boys apart piecemeal.
Hun, last one alive here, waiting for the inevitable. Well, 2 shots in Walker Bulldog. I'm able to connect. That one does. That one penetrates.
IS-3 is a well-armored tank.
It is.
You got to watch yourself when you're fighting against it.
Eula now pushing up. He takes actually more damage against him than the IS-3, and that's another victory for Simply Irresistible. I did receive a message from Simply Irresistible, and they said that they were upset with their performance from last week, and they wanted to do a lot better, obviously. Are we seeing that? Yes, in the best way that we can against an opponent that we haven't really measured or seen yet. However, the addition of Bobby, who is part of the Simp clan, I think he has proven himself tonight by his performance with the M441 Bulldog.
I would agree.
Good so far.
Yeah, I completely agree. And they're playing very comprehensively. You can see exactly what they're going for. They've set the goals, they've identified their targets, and they've figured out what they need to do. You can see this in action right here with the 3 remaining tanks of V-Boys. You have the T-32 cut off and goes down. Look at the hit points of the other ISR. You've got Tiny Tin on screen. He's taking every single hit. Not a single shot went towards Hyun until he was the only remaining tank. SI identified their target and they took it down just like that. They didn't waste time trying to figure it out. They knew. And that shows me that they're very organized tonight and they're playing probably very close to the top of their potential.
Sure. Sure, and your potential can only be measured and improved upon when it's challenged.
Yes.
And the challenge that we need to see coming from the V-Boys right now is better coordination. The T-71, tiny little tank that's moving around, but you keep finding him in places where you wish a Tier 8 was. A tank that can do damage in that type of scenario. However, tanks can't be as fast or as small as T-71s that need to do damage. But as we jump into battle number 4, Simply Irresistible is looking good to take this series. Could it be another shutout? Not sure yet. V-Boys could have a couple tricks up their sleeve as they're trying to measure out their own performance so far on Pro Horovka. What do we have for tanks, Randall?
Looks like we're going to have the V-Boys with a T-32, 2 Pershings, 2 1390s, M41, and that T-71 again. On the other side, SI, Simply Irresistible, is going to have 2 Pershings, a T-69, 1390, RU-251, and 2 M41 Walker Bulldogs. Now, when I look at this lineup from V-Boys, I see that perhaps these guys might be limited on tanks.
Sure.
Seeing this T-71, it's a cool little tank. I lean for the M41, and so do a number of the pro players right now. T-71, it's a cool tank. Maybe they can find a way to utilize it properly, but I feel that we're seeing it in this lineup from V-Boys because it is a tank they have, not because they have all of these new light tanks.
That is a definite possibility since everyone is playing on their personal accounts when it comes to the qualifiers. If they do make it to the Gold League, they're given tournament-specific accounts where everything is unlocked. A little bit of fire going back and forth. Nothing has landed yet between 2 teams. Ro8 and the Walker Bulldog has taken a closer approach towards the east on the railroad tracks. Bobby is down below in the T-69, waiting for any of the V-Boys to make an unwanted appearance.
Ah, there's some damage. Tano is going to take a few hits, peeking up. Not able to bounce any of that, being an M41. There's another one for 230. Good shots from SI, good cover fire, and V-Boys is having trouble finding any targets.
They're trying to play Simply Irresistible's game, and they're losing at it right now of jumping back and forth.
It's a little too soon to say, I think. I want to hold that judgment for a second, because while the hold-down game can become rather one-sided. Never mind. We're not seeing the hold-down game. Blitz is going in.
We're seeing a blitz from Blizz here, and Blizz falls.
Okay. Well, that was interesting.
Well, Vod's going to now push up and take a hit for 452 in that volley. Tiny Tin is low. Vod wants to get that kill, or Vo wants to get that kill. Tano Skywalker could be the next one, though. He does go down from speed weaponry. Vod's going to take a wider approach and look for any openings against Tiny Tin. And here he goes around that rock, fires on the move, does not connect. Tiny Tin's firing back, though. And can Vo fall in this scenario? No. Bobby pushes up, gets the kill.
In the meantime, Bangus went all the way in trying to take down one of the Pershings. Almost does. Not quite, though, and he does fall. So we've got V-Boys here with not a whole lot left going for him. They are able to take down Vode, trying to be the hero yet again.
Nick shuts that down very quickly. Speed weaponry takes a hit for 224. It's 6 on 5. Or excuse me, 3 on 5. It was 6 on 3. Now it's changed. Flak takes a hit, but he takes down Hun. Nick 48 on the run from JD. He's going to be chasing the 1390. Stan the man. He's going to turn around, try to fight against these 3 tanks, and he'll fall. 1 tank lives for Nick 48. On V-Boys, JD cruising in, 48 damage, 481 damage in that volley so far as he's taken 69. Nice long-range shot. JD gets the final kill. And Simply Irresistible is up 4-0 against V-Boys. We're going to have a map change. We're going to go to Himmelsdorf. I believe V-Boys has choice of attack or defense on that one.
Looks like I think they chose the map.
They chose the map.
They chose the map.
Okay.
So you have V-Boys choosing the map, and then Simply Irresistible.
Just to choose sides.
Precisely.
Simply Irresistible chose sides at the beginning, and that allowed V-Boys to choose attack or defense.
Yeah.
Well, the lineup is still appropriate enough for Prohorovka, except when we saw that IS-3. It's a tough choice. In the past, we've seen the 5100 used on Prohorovka, long-range type of engagements, and it's been a hit or miss. I mean, sometimes it's been very effective, but it's more of the strategy and execution of fundamentals from the team. The 5100 just happened to be there to land a number of shots. And other times it's been disastrous, especially when 5100s are getting taken out so quickly, as we see on maps like Himmelsdorf.
Yeah, and I feel like we'll see V-Boys perform a little better on Himmelsdorf from the tanks they were able to bring on the open map, Prohorovka. I feel that they have IS-3s, they've got the 5100s they need, they've got those tanks. Will they have an IS or a Tiger, maybe a T-29 to back that up? That's going to be important because I know SI will have everything they need. They're going to have those IS-3s, they're going to have those 5100s, maybe even a 110 to complement that with Tigers, T-29s, or ISs, whatever they feel like bringing. It's a matter of the lineup that V-Boys can bring.
And looking at the positioning right now from both these teams, it look like Simply Irresistible will be the defenders and V-Boys will be the attackers. So that is one possible final battle between these two teams, as Simply Irresistible has the advantage of 4 wins already so far. Countdown has begun for the tank selection here, and most of these tanks are already selected. They're pretty much good to go. Still waiting for Kaiser and JD, though.
Any surprises you're seeing so far?
Not yet. It looks pretty standard, but it's what you said. They seem to have tanks that are more viable and appropriate and effective, probably the best word, effective, for the city side. I am seeing a T-37, though.
Yeah. Well, I've always had my qualms about that. You know, maybe someone could prove me wrong.
Sure. I mean, the M41 Bulldog, he did dodge a bunch of shots from those IS-3s.
I mean, he did, as you predicted, dodging shells. Otherwise, not that effective.
Yeah, it's the strengths.
Yeah. We could see it work, but if you see a T-37, that means someone's bringing an extra Tier 8, right?
I believe so.
That should be nice.
Well, the countdown has begun for the battle, so let's go ahead and check out the tanks, Randall.
All right, so checking those, 3 5100s, 3 IS-3s, T-37 for V-Boys. On the other side, SI will be bringing 2 5100s, 3 IS-3s, 2 Tiger 1s. There's that standard lineup. SI has got it down. Tiger 1s for the hit points, good damage potentials, and V-Boys, pretty solid lineup as well, opting for that extra Tier 8, but the T-37, I'm wondering if there's not a better choice that we're going to discover soon.
I look forward to seeing how this is going to play out. I mean, it will be a victory for SI, victory-wise, if they're able to get this, but the 6 Tier 8s and 1 Tier 6 versus the 5 Tier 8s and 2 Tier 7s. How it's going to work out.
I lean towards the extra Tier 7s because there are a number of Tier 7 tanks which have similar damage potentials to their Tier 8 counterpart. Like the Tiger can do a good amount of damage. The IS, good amount of damage because Alpha is important. It's an important thing to remember. The T-29 and the IS both can hit for just as hard as the tank next past them. The T-29 to the T-32, the IS to the IS-3. So I feel like they're strong choices. The Tier 6 tanks are a different step down, and generally you do not get that damage potential at that tier. Very rarely, maybe with a tank destroyer or some very specific tanks. Please don't tell me about the KV-2. I know it has a 152.
People are tweeting right now, what about the KV-2, Randall?
It's like, yes, the KV-2 is a great tank. It's cool. Long reload. Really long reload.
Yeah, well, that's the same for the T-49. But the speed of the T-49 is what I enjoy because of the firepower. That reload is really a doozy. And if you miss a shot, you're a paperweight. You're a fast paperweight for a good amount of time. Looking at V-Boys' positioning here as they're getting closer and closer to the Delta line. They're going to have a 5-2 split, but one's going to be joining across the crossroads, finding no tanks to harass them as they get closer. The information gathering from nothing being spotted at all is that Simply Irresistible is up in the northwest corner.
Usual position for any defender on Himmelsdorf. You have access to both your eastern cap and to your southern cap. You just switch between either one, whichever's being pressured, and you can defend. It's also the oldest defense on Himmelsdorf, being probably the hardest to crack. There are ways to do it, but it's difficult.
Bananas, B-A-N-A-N-A-Z, waiting for Trin or Blizz to pop around this corner. Tiny Tintin could be the first one to go as well. He's got a 5100 this time. Waiting for that trigger to get pulled. V-Boys lining up for their split. They also have one tank really down south, which could put pressure on the flag cap.
Ah, you're talking about Tano.
Yes.
Tano, that little light tank. There is real potential. Tano Skywalker.
It's a cool name.
It is. It's a good name. Gosh, I wish I remembered anything about Tano Skywalker.
Shot fired from...
Sorry, that's not shots fired. Tano Skywalker's probably a great character.
Bananas is the first one to fire. No connections yet. Trin with the angled armor around the corner. It's a waiting game now as V-Boys, as the attackers must attack. If the clock runs out, Simply Irresistible gets the win as the defenders. 3 minutes and 53 seconds. This corner here is, as you mentioned, it is the go-to defensive spot. But could you imagine Artie, if they were in an open position, raining hell upon that spot?
It's an easy shift, actually.
It is, of course.
I remember...
You can't really hide Artie. You see it in the tank selection.
I mean, if you had unlimited resources kind of thing against unlimited resources, bringing Artie on Himmelsdorf generally still doesn't work. You can put something down in the southwest, and I should probably stop this train of thought because Tano Skywalker has gotten himself on the cap. And that's going to be a nice distraction. Kaiser takes 394, and this should cue some pressure from V-Boys as soon as SI does anything. I'm waiting for it.
It's that they're baiting him out, and now as they're crossing that threshold, it's going to leave the other flag cap open. But Simply Irresistible could completely push into this section and go for a harassment or an overmatch.
Where are the tanks in the north? They're still waiting. We've got IS-3s, 2 of them, and a 5100 not moving up yet. This could be the point where V-Boys falls behind because of the overmatch in the south. SI is starting to take the lead as far as damage goes.
IS-3 about to fall. It's on. Oh, does not connect. JD takes a big hit, 705 in that total volley. Nick, however, is getting destroyed in that 5100. And here comes the tanks from behind. This is a great pincer attack coming from V-Boys, and the key to switch this around is from Swipple and Kaiser, the 5100s, to rain continual fire into those IS-3s. The other 5100 Tiny Tin is spotted. Kaiser has to back away and get closer to cover as Skywalker is able to land a number of hits into the 5100.
Yeah, he's doing some good damage out here, actually racking up some points. He's not been dealt with appropriately. He's sitting at almost dead. And Swipple's having to try and find cover. Kaiser could go down very soon as well.
Swipple low. He's able to scurry back and forth with his tank to try to dodge some of these shots from the T-37. Tano's still firing. He wants to take down Swipple. Swipple is moving backwards, doesn't want to expose the rear of his tank by turning around.
Yes, he did
Tano Skywalker does in that T-37. 3 against 3 right now, but there goes Tano. Kaiser gets the kill. Big bounce off the IS-3. Trin. Oh. Blizz is able to bounce that shot. Bananas has plenty of HP, though, in this IS-3. Trin, very, very low with 7 HP. Blizz, the other tank still left alive for V-Boys at 755. They're still going to put a lot of fight into this. But one of the tanks, Kaiser, looks like he's going all the way south here to try to get some sort of flank or get out of the firefight or something. But Bobby takes a big hit from Trin.
Yeah, Trin making a solid shot right over the 5100 hull. And Blizz is trying to back up as well. I'm waiting to see if SI can bring the...
I know what Kaiser's doing. He's getting away from the firefight.
Oh.
In case this went incredibly south, he wants to stay alive to get the victory.
Okay, that's it. 50 seconds left. You can get away with the win, secure it, make it a nice clean sweep with just time on your side.
Yeah.
V-Boys...
This is really tough for V-Boys because they put in one heck of a fight in this battle.
I really need to see what Tano Skywalker did after this. And now we see V-Boys found out. Yeah, we don't have time to deal with this whole...
We gotta go, we gotta kill him or we're dead. Blizz gets the kill against Bobby. Bananas in the IS-3 has significant HP. He takes down Trin. 17 seconds left.
Yeah, 384. You know, Blizz might be able to get the kill if he gets an ammo rack onto Bananas, and that won't win him it, but I'd certainly give him a nice nod for it.
Give him some prize points, but Bananas is able to close it out, and that's it. Simply Irresistible takes down V-Boys, and they're going to be joining us tomorrow. They're going to be going up against Voltage. tomorrow in the semifinals.
That sounds like a really cool one. Real quick, before we get off the subject of these two teams, I want to look at that T-37 and what it was able to do on this match. Okay, 14 shells, 14 hits, 11 pence. So there's a T-37 being 6 points and being worth something. 1,248 damage done. I like it. I like it a lot. I think that we can see light tanks played more in the future.
That's the T-37. I'm writing that down. I'm writing that down. Put that in the article. It'll be published for a recap here because that is impressive. And again, yes, it's clean sweep. All right, 5-0. But that type of strategy, that implementation of Tano putting himself on the flag cap and the 2 pincer attacks on both sides, I really like that. I really liked its execution. But I think I like more the T-37 takedown at 5,100.
Yes, that was awesome. The fact that he was able to do that and accomplish that. Exactly that, getting that big kill. And that's like the T1s, when the T1s would do that last season. The T-37 represents that this season.
Well, I just liked how the 5,100 was moving back and forth. Like, oh, there's no, come on. No way. Yeah. This is how, I'm never going to hear the end of this. And he dies.
I bet he doesn't hear the end of this.
I'd like to hear that in comms as well. Well played by Simply Irresistible, and congratulations on making it to the semifinals. Let's go ahead and recap the day. First matchup, we had, let's see, it was Voltage versus Elevate Red. That was 5-0 for Voltage. Doge Squad destroyed the replacements 5-0. We had a good series of Get Flank versus Unpleasant Sensations. Get Flank took it 5-3, and then Simply Irresistible took out V-Boys 5-0. Now, the teams that lost today, unfortunately, they're out of the qualifiers, but we wish them the best of luck in the Bronze League and the Silver League. And if you want to sign up for those qualifiers, you can do so by either scrolling down and hitting the button down below where it says sign up for qualifiers, or go to the website worldoftanks.com/UC/tournaments, where you can sign up for the bronze and silver qualifiers. Sign-ups begin they open December 1st. They close December 6th. The prizes for these teams that do sign up are pretty good.
Yeah, you get a Type 59 for silver.
Silver League.
Yeah, Silver League winning there and doing well. You get also a pretty good mountain of gold. And I'm thinking there's a few other little perks coming along. I remember a little laundry list even.
Yeah, they're adding a little bit more prizes here and there, but the Type 59 is a huge prize because that's a tank you really can't get anywhere unless it's a code. No, it's not even a code. They'll have to get it from your account. They don't give out codes anymore. 40K gold is the prize for the Silver League, and for the Bronze League, it's 20K gold. And we have seen teams fight through the Bronze League and the Silver League and made it to the Gold League. So it is a great system. It's a great tournament system for teams to get better and to also compete at similar levels as well. Because it's no fun always getting destroyed if you're playing somebody.
You definitely learn from losing, but you learn a little bit better when you're challenged constantly, and that kind of keeps going up. So you start in the bronze. You and your guys are just trying to get together, trying to figure out your dynamic and your team, where everyone fits, everything like that, and getting used to each other. You move up to the silver. You start competing at a slightly higher level. You're getting right under gold. And if you end, top 5, you've just proven that maybe you're ready. You can go to the open qualifiers, relegations, and I believe if the top team from the silver is just autoed up every season.
Yeah. Tomorrow's matches will begin at 5 o'clock. Our pregame show will go live at 4:45 Pacific time. There'll be Voltage versus Simply Irresistible for the first matchup, followed by Doge Squad versus Get Flanked, and then the finals. After that, we will know who is going to make it to the Gold League, and we'll know our 16 teams. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at WGLNA, Facebook.com/WGLNA, and use that hashtag whenever you send us a tweet so we can find it and put it up on the broadcast. Also, huge thank you to Jinx. We're going to be giving out a code to the top performers from betting today. And also, tomorrow, we'll have another $50 code. Randall, I'm looking forward to tomorrow night's matches. I think that this can go either way for any of these teams.
Yeah, I think my favorite, though, is going to be Doge Squad. What's your favorite?
I have Voltage. I want to see this team perform up against Simply Irresistible.
That'll be a cool match. You're right. I'm definitely looking forward to it. These are good matches. These are gold.